Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a new thing I'm experimenting with. If you want to see more of my work, you can head on over to Living Lines. But for today, we are going to be designing a Pokemon fusion based upon Charizard and Ponyta. So here we go, I hope you enjoy. So these are some rough designs, just my initial ideas combining the two Pokemon together. We've got Ponyta's body combined with some aspects of Charizard. So I'm going through some of my initial ideas, just sketching out really roughly, really quickly what I think might be good for the design. Never go with my first idea. I always find it's really good practice to sketch out a few. Exploring different shapes, different proportions, different anatomy, even different styles, different poses. Even if I like the first thing I do, it's a good idea to build on it. And you do eventually get to a better point in the design process. Even if you do go with the first one, you'll find that going through different options will improve your overall design. So after I've done my first initial just rough ideas super quick, I choose a design and I develop that a bit further. This is the design I chose, and I chose this one as I felt, to be honest, it was just the cutest one there, and I felt it best represented what I wanted to achieve with the character design. While Charizard's really dangerous and fiery and ferocious, the sharp shapes and the sharp edges and the pointiness lend themselves really well to that kind of personality. And the initial designs I had a lot of sharp shapes. But we're forgetting we need to combine this with a Ponyta, which is gentle and cute and really soft. So I combined those sharp elements with some softer edges and shapes in there to reflect this personality a bit more. And this is the design I chose because I feel that it's the best balance of both of those aspects. I've still got the sharp corners of the hooves and in the snout, and there's some teeth and fire, but there's also some nice flowing soft shapes, some round squishy shapes that combine with those, and it doesn't look too much in either direction. And for this one I went with 80% cute and round and 20% sharp and fierce. And once you've got a design that you like, you need to get used to that design. And here I am just drawing this guy in multiple different poses. This is normally where you will hit some bumps in the design road, or at least I do. And this is where I figure everything out. So it's like, how do his legs bend? What happens if I put him on his front two feet and make him do a handstand? Are his legs long enough so that the silhouette doesn't get lost and clouded and it doesn't look like his face is just planted on the floor? Is it fluid enough that I can get some nice dynamic posing in there? There's a lot to think about, and rather than just diving straight into a complete illustration as soon as you've got a rough design, it's a good idea just to make sure your design is working in a lot of different angles, in a lot of different poses. And you'll also get more confident in drawing the character, which in turn will make it more believable to your audience. And that's half the battle with character design, making sure your character's believable. Because we've all seen those stiff characters, the T poses, and yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but it's just a good idea to make sure you're confident in what your character's about, what kind of personality they've got, how they hold themselves. This guy's pretty confident. He's a bit full of himself. Look at that little prance. I'm really liking how he's coming out. But yeah, because Charizard's in there, he's a predator. He's fierce. He's not afraid of anything. And even though 80% of this is Ponyta, and Ponyta's a prey animal, a horse, I feel like because literally this guy's tail's on fire, he's got sharp teeth, he can probably breathe fire as well out of his mouth like Charizard can. I feel like the reptilian aspect of the design needs to come through in the attitude. So this guy wouldn't be afraid of being jumped on by a predator, because maybe he is the predator in his environment. Maybe he's the thing that goes around hunting other little Pokemon for food. So now that I've explored all those options and I'm confident with my character design and how to draw them, I've sketched out a nice little scene here where there is an adult, let's call them Charizards. So there's an adult Charizard and it's entertaining some of the little baby ones. This adds more of a story element to my illustration. Maybe they're a parent, maybe they're having a good time with their kids, teaching them how to do some tricks. Maybe they're having a good time with their kids, maybe they're simply, babysitting for one of the other family members. Horses, they form really tight-knit family groups, and there's a really strong hierarchy in that family group. So a family kind of situation really lends itself well to exploring these characters and how they would behave in their environment and what they would be doing. And obviously being a horse, this guy I imagine would live in wide open fields where they can run. Horses love to run, but there'd also be some vegetation out there, because they need to eat as well. Can't just survive on grass, they'd have to have some other forms of nutrition. But hey, maybe they're a predator, so they wouldn't just be in wide open plains. Maybe they are like cheetah and they hide in the grass waiting for other things to wander by and pounce. Maybe they just eat burnt foliage. Who knows? These are things to think about. I like to think that these guys are predators and they are fast like horses, but they've also got the teeth and the fire to take down their prey, and that's why they're so relaxed in their environment, because they don't need to be looking over their shoulder like normal prey animals do. And it makes it more fun as an illustrator to think about these things, because again, it makes it more believable to your audience. In this painting, I'm using acrylic ink, and the brand is Bombay. I'll put a link in the description. And I like to use these because they're really nice. They're like an in-between between watercolour and acrylic ink. Well, they are acrylic ink, but they're like an in-between between watercolour and acrylic paints. And they dry really fast, but they're also, you can get them really nice and transparent. You can get really nice washes with them, and they're really vibrant in colour. That's what I really struggle with watercolour, is how to get like really vibrant colours. I've seen artists do it and I have no clue how they get such bright colours with watercolour. Maybe it's the brand I'm using, maybe it's the technique I'm using, maybe I'm not layering it enough. But if you use watercolour and you've got any recommendations, please let me know in the comments. But I find watercolour reactivates as well. And with acrylic ink, once you've laid something down, it's permanent. You're not lifting that up. So it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off as well, because when something's down, you can't change that. You've got to work with it. It speeds up your process a bit because you're not there trying to fix things. Like you can kind of lift up watercolour and pick the paint back up and dab it with tissue and lighten it up, but you can't do it with this medium. There are good points and bad points to the medium. I find it really works for me, and mainly because I'm impatient and this dries really fast. So instead of waiting for an hour for it to dry, or having to use a hairdryer in between washes to speed up the drying process, I'm waking up the baby. I don't want to do that. I like to let him sleep. So by the time I finish painting, like the sky for example, the top half of the sky that I started painting in the beginning is already dry. So I really don't have to wait. Sometimes I don't even have to wait at all for the paint to dry. And sometimes it's literally the time it takes to make a cup of tea. And we all love tea, so I'm not complaining about it. So here we are, we're going to make a big decision. Bob Ross style, felt like something was kind of lacking in the left side of the composition. So we've put a nice big tree right in the middle here. And sometimes adding foreground elements can really sell the atmosphere of painting, and it can make your characters look more ingrained in the scenery, make them look like, you're looking through the grass at them and you're kind of just perceiving a moment in time that maybe wasn't meant to be perceived. It's got that kind of voyeuristic element to it as well, like the element of mystery. I just really like putting foreground elements in. It helps frame the piece as well. I mean, you don't always need it for simple illustrations, but this kind of took a life all on its own, and it turned out completely different to what I initially had planned. But I mean, that's why I love painting, because I always end up just doing something completely different to what I initially planned, and I still like how it turned out, and I'm always learning from my mistakes and the risks that I take. So yeah, I mean, these Charizard are really cute as well. I really like how they came out. I'm really happy with the design. It's also a challenge to do young and old versions. So for the young ones, I've literally just made the heads bigger and this feature's a little softer. They've got bigger noses and bigger horns because they've got to grow into them. There's also a little shiny Ponyta, Charizard in there. I made them light blue because the flame on Ponyta is blue when they're shiny, and Charizard has blue flames and a black body with red wings. So I just thought, I'll just make them blue because it's cute and it's the complementary colour to orange. So playing on the colour harmony. Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've ever done a voiceover for YouTube, so I'm really nervous, and some of the things I've said might not be clear, so if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I'll answer you in the comments, or if there's anything you'd like to know in future videos that I can talk about, please ask away and I'll address in the next video. I'm always happy to share anything that I can. I don't exactly feel qualified to, but I guess that's just imposter syndrome, and we never really feel ready to do things, so this is me just doing it, and I hope you've enjoyed. I've enjoyed making this. It's been a really big learning curve, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you very much for watching and have a good one. Ta-ra.